Oh, it is August, okay? If you are someone who is planning on graduating December 2024 or May 2025, but you haven't put not one word on the page since August began, this is a conversation for you. You want to keep listening or watching, whatever you are doing. Dr. Marvette Lacey, and I'm going to help you write your dissertation in 12 months or less. Today, we are talking about, is the reason why you're not making progress that you want to make, is it because you're lazy? Is it because you don't know what you're doing? Or is it because you're burnt out? Or maybe it's something else. As you come in, tell me hi. How are you? Let me know. I don't want to talk to myself. I would like to talk to you. I would like to engage in a conversation with you all. So let me tell you, I'm going to tell you a really quick story, then we're going to get into it. As a fourth year doc student, after passing my proposal, it took me so long. You know what? Let me go back. Let me take you back to my comprehensive exams. We had qualified exams. Thank y'all for telling me hi. I appreciate you. So in my program, we have your coursework. We also have something that is called a publishable paper. And you have to complete that before you can do your exams. And then you have to choose a different topic for your dissertation. So the publishable paper is similar to a pilot study, but you won't be, the theory is you won't be using it for your dissertation. So I do all of that, and I struggle through it, and I get through my exams. And I decide that I'm going to take off 2 months. But 2 months, I was like, that's going to be enough time to celebrate the holidays. I defended my exams at the end of October 2015. Okay, track with me this timeline. I was like, I'm going to give myself November, December to take a break. And then January, I'm going to write my proposal for my dissertation. When did I start writing my proposal? I did not start writing my proposal until June of 2016. For 9 months, I could not write anything. For 9 months, I was completely burnt out. For 9 months, I was having daily panic attacks. I was in and out of every doctor you can think of. I was there. They saw my face because I was putting that good student insurance to use. And I kept wondering where you might be right now. I kept wondering, maybe it's true. Maybe I'm not supposed to be in this program. Maybe I don't know as much as I think I do, because if I knew enough, then I would be able to write my proposal. Now, anytime I say something that is similar to what you are going through, or you feel like you can relate, put a 1 in the chat, because again, I don't want to talk to myself, and I want to make sure that what I'm saying to you relates to you, or we can change the topic. But here I was, I made it, I did all the steps, and I made it to the dissertation proposal, and I could not figure out how to write a literature review. I was so irritated. I'm like, I wrote 11 literature reviews. What makes this one different? And my chair would be like, I know you know the literature. I know you know it because you could tell it to me. I know you know it, so why can't you write it? And I was like, listen, girl, I don't know. I don't have it. What I would have told you if I felt safe with you, if we were besties like that, I would have told you that honestly, I don't have a reason to do this. I couldn't find a reason why I should put myself through all of this and put myself through writing a dissertation for a field in a degree that I no longer believed in. All that questioning about if I had enough, or if I was in the right place, if I could keep up with the rest of the people in the program, what it all boiled down to, I don't know why I'm doing this anymore. I know I don't want to be in this anymore. I know I don't want to be nobody faculty. I know I don't want to write nobody's manuscripts. And I love writing. Love it. But I didn't like what the research process, where I was seeing from my viewpoint, what it was representing. I didn't love it in the same ways that the other people around me seemed to be loving it. I didn't get it. I was like, I don't want to be in higher ed. In fact, I want my own business. And because everyone around me were looking at me really strange, why would you want your own business? I'm like, yeah, because I've always just wanted to be a teacher. And the way that y'all are trying to tell me I have to be a teacher, I don't want that. I want that. I want to actually help people. I don't want to be pushing around red tape all day. But I couldn't say that to people. So it would just come out as I don't know. I just can't get myself to do it. I just got to get myself together. But when you say that for a long enough time, when you keep saying, I just got to get myself together, I just got to do what I know I'm supposed to do, eventually, if you're not careful, that voice will start to turn into, oh, you're just lazy. Oh, you should Like, if you know what to do, why are you not doing it? Can you relate to that? If you know what to do, why are you not doing it? Because that's the question that kept circling in my head. If you know what to do, if you claim that you got it all together, then why are you not doing it? And to me, in my brain, the only logical reason why I wasn't doing it is because I was lazy. But let's look up the word lazy. I'm gonna put it in Google because I want to make sure we are all on the same page. This is what I like to do. Lazy, an adjective, unwilling to work or use energy. Unwilling to work or use energy. If you are telling yourself, if you have a conversation in your mind that you keep saying, I'm just being lazy, I just need to get it together. Is it true that you're being lazy? Is it true that you are unwilling to work or use energy? Because most people, when they're being lazy, they're doing something else that they rather do. Like they're having more fun, I don't know, playing a game or going shopping or whatever the activity they are doing other than the one that they feel like they need to be doing. Are you having fun when you're not writing? Is it fun for you to sit on the couch or to scroll through Instagram and constantly tell yourself over and over, you should be writing. You should be writing. You could read something. You could respond to your chair. You know you were supposed to turn in that draft the other day. Is that fun? Is that you having a life of ease? Because that's what it means to be lazy. Is that fun for you to constantly in your mind be like, well, you said you always do this. You always do this. In January, you said you were going to write that literature review before January was over. And in February, you said you're going to have it done before spring break. And now we're all the way in August and you still haven't written that literature review. What's the problem? Why can't you do that? Why can't you get it together? Is that how it's sounding? Is that the conversation you're having with yourself? I mean, how much more time? Like people will say, Dr. Lacey, I mean, at some point I got to call it what it is. At some point I have to say 8 months has passed by in 2024 and you still haven't done what you said you were going to do. At some point, Dr. Lacey, I got to take responsibility. And what I'm going to ask you is like, but do you? What are you taking responsibility for exactly? How is it supposed to look like? We're going to get into a real conversation today. And I hope these eyelashes can hold on while I have this conversation with y'all. Because they're coming off. Is that familiar? Let me see what someone said. I start my doctoral program next week. I finished my master's in 2021. And I've been putting off going back to school because I've been out of school for a bit. And I'm nervous about getting back into the groove. I get that. This is going to be a real good conversation. I know I'm talking about burnout and laziness and whatnot, but it would be helpful to work backwards. At least I find it helpful. But if you're having a conversation like that with yourself, I want you to ask yourself, what should you be doing? Like if we can zoom out a little bit, or you can think of somebody who you like, they always on top of it. What does it mean to be a student who's on top of it? What would your week look like? What would your days look like? What are you supposed to be doing versus what you feel like you're not doing? What is it supposed to look like? Because when I ask students this question, they're like, what do you mean? I'm just supposed to show up and write every day. I'm like, okay, so if you're supposed to write every day, how many hours are you supposed to write every day? Because we need a definition. How many hours are you going to write every day to be the ideal student? And let's say you say like, oh, every day I should be putting in at least 2 hours a day. Okay. So as long as you show up to a writing session for 2 hours, does that mean you check the box? Because a lot of you, now I'm about to step on some toes, so you might want to step back. Many of you, most of you, if not all of you on this call right now, you do show up every day to write. You look at your dissertation or your literature review, or you look at something every day. You think about it every day. Most of you are being in like such a mode of panic and anxiety for 2 hours a day. That counts. You're showing up every day to do the thing. So it's not about showing up. It's not showing up. It's not putting the hours in. That's not what you're talking about. Because when I ask students like, but you sound like you're showing up consistently for the dissertation, but yet you still keep telling yourself you're lazy and you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So is it about the hours? So what's the definition? What is it supposed to look like? Then someone will say, well, if I was really showing up every day, then the dissertation would be done. I said, we're talking about two different things. So I want you to check in on your own definition. What is your definition of an ideal student? How do you know that you're doing a doc student the right way? We're going to use this language. What does it mean to be someone who's writing a dissertation the right way? What would you be doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? How do you know that you're doing it right? If it's just about, well, I would show up these amount of hours, then you need to be honest with yourself. You are showing up those amount of hours. So there must be something else that's coming up, that's communicating to you that you're not doing it the right way. So we need to know, what is the right way? Let me know in this chat, what does it mean to do the dissertation in the right way? So if it's not about hours, is it that you just have a done dissertation? Well, that's an easy fix. You know what you do? You show up to your writing session, then you put anything down on the page and you turn it into your chair. And then you let your chair tell you what to do next. But that's not what you mean either. Because you're going to tell me, the next thing you're going to tell me is, well, Dr. Lacey, I can't just be submitting any old thing to my chair. I can't just be turning any shitty paragraphs to them. It got to be something. Okay, now we're getting closer to a definition. So far, the definition that we're working with is that you put a certain amount of hours in every day for writing, and you have words on a page. Okay, what else needs to happen for you to be doing this dissertation the right way? How do you know? Here's another question for you to consider. How do you know that a draft is at a point where it's good enough to submit to your chair for review? How do you know that you are finished with your draft and it's ready for somebody to review it? How do you know that? What are you looking for? If you tell me a feeling, how are we supposed to know that? How on a Friday night when you forced yourself after a whole week of working, your boss done got on your nerves, right? Them kids in the classroom, it's still August, they acting like they're still on summer break, and you're tired, but you forced yourself to do a writing session on Friday because you promised yourself that this school year was going to be different. And so you get your stuff together, you go to your home office that's in the closet with all the hangers and the shoes, right? You lock the door so the kids can't get in there. And you put your fingers on the keyboard and you start trying to type. And you sit there for an hour and words actually get on the page. And let's say you write 2 or 3 pages. But then there's always that voice that's like, but that don't count. That's not going to be good enough. That's trash. It don't even sound academic. My chair is not going to even like that. And so because you have that conversation, you're like, F it, I'm done. I need to go to sleep. But you go to sleep on Friday and you wake up on Saturday feeling like a failure, feeling like you didn't do anything for the whole week because the pages that you did produce, they're not good enough. So my question to you about how do you know if a draft is ready to submit helps you to have that conversation on that Friday night. Right now, you're just saying because I don't feel like it's good enough, then it's not good enough. But there's no tangible, objective things to know if it was good enough. All we have is your feelings. And I'm not saying your feelings are not valid. I'm just saying it's not a helpful tool to decide if you need to move forward or if you're ready to move forward in this process or not. So let me pause. Put a 1 in the chat if you're following me so far. If you got questions, let me know. But put a 1 in the chat if you're following me so far. Right? You're like, I stare at the Google Doc. That's writing. What if that counted as that's proof that you're not lazy? What if going to your computer and you or your laptop and you assume, this is my writing time. I got 2 hours for writing. And the entire 2-hour time, all you do is sit at your computer and cry and be overwhelmed. What if that counted as you doing it the right way? What if that's how it's supposed to be? Because you're creating new knowledge. What if that's not a problem? Some of you, if you're brand new to me, I'm either going to piss you off or I'm going to have you up all night thinking about the answers to these questions. There's no in between, really. I either piss you off or you start thinking. I'm following, but not at dissertation phase yet. It is okay. Okay? I'm glad you're here. What if a part of writing a dissertation is, a lot of these days, I'm going to be staring at this Google Doc being like, now, what the hell is supposed to go on here? What if that's the natural part of writing? Who told you that writing is I show up every single day, and every single day I put words on a page, and every single day I'm proud of the words I put on the page? Who told you that? Who do you see actually doing that? Not what they tell you they do. Who do you actually see doing that? Who do you actually see like, look at me? I show up every day. I put the words on a page. Even me. Right? Like I put up some reels, some videos about I wrote a book in 3 days and 10 hours. That's true. But it wasn't this like, I don't know. It wasn't like this like perfect process. The reason why I was able to show up and write that book in 10 hours is because since March, I did this in July, because March, every Friday, I showed up to a meeting with a team member who was helping me to streamline our curriculum. And I had to verbalize to her over and over, this is how you complete a dissertation in 12 months. And because I did that every Friday, sometimes 5 hours every Friday, talking to this person, them asking me questions, me going back and forth, by the time I had the idea in July, remember we started in March, by the time I had the idea in July, I was like, oh, I've been talking about this for months. Let me just open up a document and write. Catch this. I'm going to break this down, but catch it. From March until July, I did not put any words on a page. I was just talking to someone. But that talking and that processing and that like, I think it's this, but no, it's this, helped me, prepared me to show up in July to be like, I'm just going to write this book. Now, in this analogy, you have been reading literature for how long? I want you to think about the first time you started being like, I could do this for my dissertation as a topic, or I think I might study these things for my dissertation. I know for me, I came into the program, like part of my personal statement of getting into the PhD program was about wanting to do research around Black women. And my first year, I thought it was going to be faculty, but then that evolved into Black women doctoral students. Right? But I had an idea from day one, year one, oh, it's going to be about Black women. And you know what that means? That means every class assignment, I was like, oh, I'm going to work smarter, not harder. I'm going to go look at the literature about Black women in higher education in some degree. So for 4 years, 3.5 years or whatever, every class assignment, every time it came down to research, most of the time I was looking at research about Black women. Are you doing the same thing before I get to this punchline? Have you been looking at literature from the beginning about your topic? Most of the time, 9.9 times out of 10, all of y'all would say yes. So that means, just like me meeting with my team member from March to July, talking about the 12-month curriculum, and I was able to write it in 10 hours, wouldn't it be true for you too? If you have years, clock it, you have years of looking at literature. You have years going to conferences and presentations. You have years talking to your friends about the article you read or what you saw over here and how it connects to your topic. You have years. Wouldn't it be true that you could sit down and put words on a page because you did the reading already? Part of the reason why I say write shitty paragraphs is because of that. So that's how I know you're qualified. So I know it's not that. So we already established you're not lazy. You are qualified for this because you've been reading for years about your topic. And the shitty paragraph helps you to get out of your head and put words on the page. The shitty paragraph allows your brain to catch up to the fact, oh, we're writing right now. Oh, I probably should go get that file folder with all those articles we've been reading for the past 3, 4, 5 years so that you can retrieve that information and put it on the page. But that's going to take a while for your brain to go to long-term memory storage, get the right file folder. It got to go through a lot of stuff because you be reading and watching a lot of stuff. So you got to go find the right folder, and then you got to bring it to your conscious part of your brain, and then the words go on the page. But if you sit down to write, and if in the first minute, if the first sentence that you write, you're like, that doesn't sound academic enough, my chair is not going to like that, and you don't give your brain enough time to go retrieve the appropriate information that you've been reading for the past 3 years, of course, what you're writing in the beginning doesn't make sense. Your brain is just getting warmed up. But if you don't give it enough time and you start talking shit to yourself, like, see, you don't know enough. So-and-so could easily say the citation and tell you what so-and-so said. Like, anybody, like, you're just so slow. You must be a slow reader. You must need to go read again. You must need to go. Like, we go into this whole conversation. What if it's simply, it's not, you just haven't told yourself it's okay to stare at the computer for a minute? And what if you just need to learn how to give yourself enough time for the folder to come up and you can put words on a page? Now, I have another thought, but I want to check in. Put a 1 in the chat if you're following me still, or if you have questions. What if it's okay? Let me recap for those who are just joining. What if it's okay that a lot of the writing process is you staring at your document at that blinking cursor? What if it's okay that every day you don't have words to put on the page? That's number 1. And number 2, what if you just simply haven't been giving yourself enough time to retrieve the appropriate information from long-term memory to go into the page? Thank y'all. Let me get a sip. I need to slow down. Okay, so we established, thank y'all for the ones. So we established it's okay to not put words on a page. We established that you are qualified because you've been reading about this topic. The next thing I want to say, and it's my post from earlier, the other reason why it's so hard to put words on a page is because you're thinking about your chair, and you're thinking about your committee, and you're thinking about how great they are. You're thinking about how much they've published. You're thinking about all of their accolades. You're thinking about, oh, they know their stuff and they're going to be asking me the hard questions. You think that their primary goal or role on your committee is to test your knowledge about the literature. That's what you think. What if I told you that's not their role? That's not their role. Their role is not to test you if you know enough. Their role is simply to help you design a research study and to conduct the research. That's it. You do want to get 1 or 2 people on your committee who's familiar with the literature, but they're not going to know it like you do. They know their area. Even if y'all both study assistant principals in urban school districts, you're taking a different stance than they are, which is how we even got to you doing a dissertation, right? Because to do a dissertation or a research project, that means you found a gap in the literature and you're addressing it. To find a gap means we haven't looked at it enough. We don't have solutions for it. We haven't looked at it in this particular way, meaning it's brand new. Meaning that while your committee can guide you, they can't tell you exactly what to do. Simone Biles, she has coaches, right? She has coaches who help her condition, who help her to like think of new routines, who can tell her like how to refine her performance. But those coaches cannot replicate her movements. They can't show her how to do all those, what is it, 5 or 6 movements that have been named after her. She's the only one who can do them. I think it's only like 1 or 2 of them that other athletes have been able to replicate. But her coaches, I need somebody to catch this analogy. Her coaches would not be able to go on a beam or a vault and show her what to do. Yet they're still her coach. In the same way, your chair, your committee members can't go and do the thing for you because they don't have the same skill or knowledge or talent that you do. But they can guide you in terms of, this is how you overall think about designing a study. This is how you want to write it. This is how you want to present it. They can guide you, but they can't tell you how to do this exactly. The only thing that is happening right now is that you don't see your committee as colleagues. You see them as some sort of, I don't know, like committee that's going to tell you that you didn't read enough, that you don't know enough citations, that you don't know about so-and-so and so-and-so. And if you have a committee like that, take a deep breath. Everybody just take a deep breath. Let's all take a deep breath. I can see you. I can feel your energy. Take a deep breath. If you have a chair or a committee who is trying to test you on the literature, it is not because you don't know enough. It's because they are intimidated by you. We'll take a breath. What if your committee and your chair, they're jealous of you? You ever thought about that? You ever thought about faculty being jealous of you? Somebody right now about to hang up on this live, right? They about to like report me to Meta. You ever thought that your committee, your chair, who are humans, just like you are human, who have emotions, you ever thought that they might be experiencing the emotion of jealousy or envy when they look at you? Oh, here you come. Look at you. You're so excited. You're so naive. You're like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And you're like, oh, let me tell you all the things I've read. And for funsies, I put together this little spreadsheet. And I connected it to this thing over here. What do you think? And you get so proud and you want to go show it to them. You're like, look at what I did. What you don't realize is they on the inside is like, what the fuck? I was not doing this as a student. I can't even do this as a tenure track professor. Like, how is this student doing this? What you might be interpreting as like, oh, they keep asking me questions, that must mean that I don't know enough. Could it be they're asking you questions because they don't know? It never even occurred to them to think about the topic in that way. And what they know that you don't know is they're like, oh, I could use this student. I could use this student to write my literature reviews. I can use this student to write my manuscripts, and I could just add my name to it. Because this student is going to be so grateful that I even asked them to be a part of my research team. They're not going to even question that I'm telling them to do the work for me. Because you're so happy to be chosen that someone is giving you, like they see you and they're validating you, right? And we can go into the history of it, but you're so happy to be chosen that it never occurred to you, am I getting anything out of this? Or am I just happy that nobody wants to kick me out the program? But if you keep doing this and you keep helping your chair, that one committee member over there who says she's your mentor, if you keep helping everybody in the cohort to find the information they need and sit with them when they need to write, but ain't nobody sitting with you when you need to write, when you got questions, they're like, oh, I'm busy, I can't do it. If you keep showing up and doing everything for everybody else, guess what happens? It leads us to our third thing. You get burnt out. You get burnt out. And you know what happens when you're burnt out and you can't show up? They're like, oh, you can't cut it. Oh, you just need to do it. I don't know what to tell you. You just need to dig deep. You got to get out the mud like I got it out the mud. Meanwhile, but you were there helping them. I know I'm not just talking to myself. I know I'm not just talking to myself. You are someone who is very giving and very caring. And you want to help other people not struggle in the same way that you've struggled, because you know what struggle is. You know how much you had to figure out and maneuver and get information throughout your entire education experience. And so here you have these people in your cohort and you don't want them to have the same experience that you did. Or maybe it's not your cohort, maybe it's a writing group, right? But you're so busy meeting people here and trying to help them. When you need help, where's your help? Now, this is not about saying don't help people. I just want to show you that what you might be thinking is laziness, or that you are not on top of it enough, that you're not consistent enough, could simply just be you're not giving yourself enough time. You're helping everybody else. You're giving more to other people than you're giving to yourself. And that you're up against a system that wants to exploit you versus support you. That's why you're burnt out. What if you're burnt out? What if this is a matter of being burnt out? You know what, Chris? I got on black, but I don't have on the Air Force Ones. I got on, what are these called? What is these? You know what I'm talking about. I love these, by the way. It took me forever. Crocs. It took me forever to get a pair, but I got one and now I can't live without them. What if you're just burnt out? Now, burnt out doesn't always feel like I can't get out. I'm in the middle of the floor and I can't move. Burnt out a lot of times looks like, well, I said I was going to show up. It's Tuesday. We got our writing group on Tuesday. Let me show up. And when it's time to do the check-in, you put on the face and you're like, hi, everybody, I'm here. Yeah, I know I've been telling y'all for the same 3 weeks that I've been working on the same part of the literature review, but this time it's going to be great. And you muster up enough energy to just pretend like on that check-in that you're good to go, that you're with it, that you're just a little bit turned around, but you can pull it together. Burnout also looks like you go to that writing group, y'all do your check-in, now it's time to do some writing, and you staring at your document. And all you hear is the last conversation you had with your chair. All you hear is how they told you like, well, Chris, I'll just be so excited when I see your writing. Yeah, I love having these conversations with you, but you're full of ideas. Just put some of these ideas on paper. Oh, like maybe you need to stop doing so much, or maybe you just need to sit down and force yourself to do it. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and do it. That's essentially what they're saying. Here's the thing. Something I like to use to make this make sense is, let me back up. Most of us in this conversation right now, education was not created for us in mind. Go with me. I promise I'm going somewhere. Right? This system wasn't built for people like us. If you got any minoritized identities, it wasn't for you. If you are not a cisgender, heterosexual, wealthy, white male student, it wasn't built for you. It wasn't about you. Just because they let us in doesn't mean they changed it to accommodate us. Right? And just because it's 2024 doesn't mean that the same traditions and values are not leading the system of higher education. Because the assumption is, because you have those identities and because you come from a more affluent background, the assumption is you have support. That your academic program is not your only source of support. What I talk about is that the dissertation includes 4 parts. You got the project management side of things. So what should you be doing at what point and how long it should take you? You have the designing of the research, right? So what is the data? What type of data? How you going to get that data? What you're going to do when you get it? You have the writing part, which is like writing, like the actual drafts or the manuscripts or the chapters. And then you have the actual identity part of like, I see myself as a doctor and I speak, I write, I move through the world as a doctor. Those are the 4 parts. Your program is only responsible for helping you to design and conduct the research. So the other parts like project management, writing, and your identity piece, the system assumes that you have resources at your disposal to handle that. Meaning you have people who are going to help you see yourself as a doctor and help to lead you through this process. Meaning you know how to get yourself to read all this information and write it and edit, and that you have an editor. Meaning you have research, you have your brain works in a way where you have high executive function that you can always decide, like you always know all the moving parts of the dissertation and you know where to go, where to be at what time. They assume that you already have those things in place. But if you are like me, where you are a first-year student from the west side of Chicago, who got that? My family don't even know the difference between me getting a PhD and me getting an undergrad degree. Okay, I got a whole master's. They still are confused. They think I just keep repeating the same degree over and over. They do understand enough that like it's something to be proud of and they go tell their friends about, but they didn't understand the nuances of the degrees. So they couldn't help me. Nobody in my family understood it, so they couldn't help me. I'm in an entire state that I don't know anyone. So I'm just over here trying to figure it out. And you mean to tell me that the program assumes that I have the resources at my disposal? Do you realize that most people who are going to get a doctorate degree or a terminal degree, they do have those resources. They do have an editor. They do have an assistant who helps keep them on track. They have a partner or a spouse or somebody in the home that's like, here's your meals. I cleaned your laundry. Oh, I'm going to get the kids out the way so you can focus. Or they have family or someone around them. Or they can pay for it. They don't have to make all these decisions in the same way. And some of you, right, have some of these things. I'm not demonizing the support. Let me be clear. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be people who have support. What I'm saying is the program assumes that you have that support. So they're not providing that for you. But if you don't even know that most people have that level of support, then what ends up happening is as you're looking at other people around you, you start being like, maybe I'm the one that's falling off, or maybe I'm not working hard enough because y'all seem to be like zooming through this and I'm over here still trying to figure out what book I'm supposed to be reading. What you don't realize is that they have most likely a level of support that you don't have. They have someone guiding them. They're not doing this by themselves. The second thing I want to talk about that I tell students is there are two different types of students in a doc program. And I want to know which one you are. So before I get there, let me look at these comments. A lot of people who are starting doc programs, I love it. You did grad school alone. Yeah, and let me tell you, mark my words, when it fully hits you, that other people have support that you didn't even know you were supposed to have, and you realize you've been navigating this process alone, the level of grief that hits you, just slaps you in the face. That's where burnout really comes in. Because you start putting one-to-one together. You're like, wait a minute. The way I was sitting over here like, I'm sorry, you got a whole editor. Oh, you got a wife that reads your stuff. Oh, okay. Oh, you got like 3 writing groups. Oh, that's cute. Oh, you got the time to do that. Oh, you don't have to work. Oh, somebody's paying for you to be here. Oh, that's so nice. When things like that started happening, I've been like, here I am over here judging myself. And I don't even have a metric to, it's wrong. Which is why I asked you, what does it mean to do this right? Okay, but let me focus. We had no compass and had to rely on what systems wanted to give us. Absolutely. It's been so hard and lonely. Yes. What is actually happening and how I was convinced something was wrong with me. It's nothing wrong with y'all. That's why I remind you so much in my content. It's nothing wrong with you. You are just navigating a system that wasn't built for you. It's that simple. You are a walking miracle. You show up and you go into these spaces that were not built for you, and where it's not clear what you're supposed to do, and you still figure that shit out. Do you know most people can't figure that shit out? Most people will give up and be like, I'm good, I'm done. The fact that you're still in this and you're doing it, you're a walking miracle. Okay. 2 students. Which one are you? There's a version of a student who goes to their chair and they say, hey chair, what should my dissertation topic be? And the chair is like, you should study high school teachers. Go with me. And then the student goes, okay, high school teachers. And they go find some literature and they're like, ooh, high school teachers. And then that student comes back and they're like, so should I study like high school teachers in urban areas? Should I study like high school teachers in the Caribbean? I don't know, I'm making this up, right? And then the chair is like, high school teachers in urban areas. Okay, go back to the literature, start reading about high school teachers in urban areas. Student comes back. Okay, so I got the literature. Should I write these 3 sections or should I write these 3 sections? Once you start at these 3 sections, okay. Then they come back. Should I do like blue or should I do orange? I hope y'all are catching the vibe. The student goes to the chair, asks the chair, what should I do? The chair says, do this. The student doesn't question, doesn't say, well, I think we should do this. The student's like, okay. And they go off and they try to do the thing. And when they get stuck, they're like, okay, I got stuck. What do I do now? They're not making it mean anything about them of like, well, you should know it. They're like, no, that's what they're here for, to ask questions. I ask the questions and I just do what they tell me to do. Why? Because I know this student over here knows this is not my life's work. This is how one finishes this part of the process. It's not my life work. I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna do what they tell me to do, and I'm gonna move on. Whereas student 2 is like, okay, chair, I'm ready to do my dissertation. Now, what should I do? I wanna study teachers. I was thinking about, urban school districts and comparing like Chicago to Atlanta. And then I was gonna do like this participatory action research project. What do you think, chair? And the chair's like, in their mind, remember the conversation from earlier, in their mind, the chair's like, I have no idea what the fuck what is participatory action research and why are you trying to do so much and why are you trying to be ambitious? What they may verbally say to you is, Oh, that's a lot. Well, let's just take it one thing at a time. Or are you sure you want to do that? Or, okay. And then you go off and now you read like 10 books and you done put together some diagrams. You done told your friends over here that you're going to do this whole participatory action research project, right? You go talk to your mentor over here. You like, look, girl, this is what I'm going to do. And the mentor's like, yeah, do it like this and do it like this. By the time you come back to your chair 6 months later, you're like, look what I did. And the chair's like, yeah, I don't like it. Do it over. Now you got an attitude. You got an attitude. They don't respect me. They don't think I know what I'm doing. I know I'm stepping on toes. I know I can feel it. It's getting quiet. And some of you are probably like, so you mean to tell me I'm supposed to be like student one who goes to their chair and asks every single question of what to do? That's going to make it look like that I don't know what I'm talking about. That's going to make it look like that I didn't do any of the reading. Or it may look like you're someone who's following the system or the process. Let me tell you why I'm telling you to do that, okay? Because let me tell you, if I was listening to me say this, the amount of cuss words that would be coming out my mouth, I'm like, who's she talking to? She must don't know. But this is for the people who are like, I just want to be done. I just want to be done. I don't even care anymore. I just want this off my back. I just want to be free from this. I just want to go travel. I want to go do all these things. This is for you. If you truly just wanted to be done, you know what you would do? Option one. You would be like, hey, chair, what would you like for me to do? It don't matter how much sense it does not make. It doesn't matter if you don't like it or not. You'd be like, oh, what do you want me to, you want me to do that? Sounds good, girl. Don't worry about it. The way I showed up to my chair, remember, I don't think I finished my story, but for 9 months, I could not write a word. My chair knew that I knew what I was doing. I taught classes with her. I did research with her. So it wasn't a question if I was qualified. She might have thought like lazy, but because of who my chair is, she was like, it's not laziness. Something's going on emotionally. But her Capricorn spirit was still like, girl, push through and do the work. Now, she would never tell me that, but that's what her energy said. You just need to do the work. That's what it is. It's just how it is. And how you're at, you got to do the work. But I couldn't. I was like, girl, I have panic attacks. It's not for lack of trying. I'm over here panicked. And when I finally could write, because a good friend helped, like I went to a writing retreat with some friends. It was a good time. I started to feel safe. I started to feel like, okay, maybe I can do it. I saw them working every day and I saw how much fun they were having. And they kept reminding me who I am and who I was and what I've been through. Because I was in community, and I was in community where I felt safe. These are people I was like, they don't have a reason to lie to me. I've never known them to lie to me. And they told me I can come on their writing retreat with them and just sit here. I don't have to do anything. For the first 3 days, I colored and watched scary movies. I was not writing. But it was one day that Dr. Misha Brown was like, girl, sit down. Sit down right now. Only way that I feel like a black woman can is sit down right now. She said, sit down at this kitchen table. Open up your document. Open up your laptop. And I was like, it don't matter. I'm not going to be able to write. I was happy. I was so ridiculous. She was like, I don't care. But you're going to sit here and you're going to write with me for 10 minutes. And I was like, I don't want to. She's like, you're going to sit here and you're going to write. And I was like, well, I'm going to just write Beyonce lyrics because Lemonade just came out. And that's what I did for the first 5 minutes. And then eventually my brain kicked on and was like, well, we do know something about identity development theory. We can write about that. That'll at least get us to 10 minutes. And you know what happened at the 10-minute mark? I just kept writing because I was in the groove now. I was in a groove. I did try to get up a couple of times. And if you do know Lamisha, the way she looked at me was like, sit back down. And I was like, okay. And I sat down and I just kept writing. But what that did for me, I felt safe enough to trust her. We had relationship and where I was like, even though I don't want to do this, I'm going to do it because you told me it was only going to be 10 minutes. And that 10 minutes led to a month later, I had an entire proposal. But the way I got to the proposal is that after those first 10 minutes, I went to my chair and I said, hey, girl, this is what I got. Now, the first half, you're not going to read it because I cussed Jay-Z cleaned out. Okay, like he's a Sagittarius. Okay, I'm a Sagittarius, but I'm a woman. Okay, listen. And it matters. Okay, it matters. Because we're not going to get into an astrology conversation, but there's a reason why he cheated on Beyonce. I was like, listen, the first half of that is me cussing that nigga out. Sorry, cussing him out. But the second half, and I do talk to my chair like that. Listen, she used to me. The second half, though, it might have some substance. And she read it. And I said, what do I do next, girl? And she tried to be like, well, you know. I said, no, I don't. What do I do next? What do I do next? Listen, y'all got me out here on a Tuesday night. I'm about to come out my body. I got to remember, I got to keep it a little bit professional. I got to keep it a little bit professional. But I was like, what do I do next? What's this project? She was like, oh, you should do something like this. And then I would go and write it up. And then I would give it to her. And then when I gave it to her, I was like, I don't know if I like this, but I wrote it up for you. And she used to be like, you could push back on me. And no, I can't, girl. Because if I get to pushing back on you and trying to be creative, I'm not going to finish this. Why? Because my why is not strong enough to be creative right now. My why is I just want to get this done. My why is I just want to get this over with, girl. I didn't spend too much money. I didn't put too much time in this little raggedy degree. I just want to be done. So tell me exactly what to write on this paper. And she would tell me, and then I would go write it. And then I would come back. And as I got more comfortable doing that, as I got into the groove of being like, okay, what do I do next? Eventually the momentum caught up with me. And then I was able to keep writing. And I didn't have to go to her so much. I didn't have to keep asking, because I also understood by that point what she was expecting of me, what she was thinking about when it came to this dissertation. So I could just stay in my groove and write, and that is how I had a proposal in a month. Now, I understand that some people don't have a relationship with their chair that you would talk to them that frequently. At that point, I was sitting in my chair talking to her every day, because I was like in her class, but I was also like dog sitting, like practically live with her. Like, so I love my chair. But what I teach students in the Finish Your Dissertation program is that every week you need to be telling your chair something. I recognize that you got to work your way up to that. So we start off with you communicating with them once a month, and you work your way up to communicating with them once a week. What that communication looks like or sounds like is an email every Friday, let's say. And in that email, you're gonna be like, hey, chair. So this is what I was doing this week. This week, I was working on my literature review. I was working on the theoretical framework. I think I'm going to use critical race theory. I read this book. I wrote some shitty paragraphs. I'm still working on it, but I plan to have a full draft for you to review by the end of this month. But in the meantime, if you can give me an example of a theoretical framework or tell me a little bit about your philosophy of theoretical frameworks, that would help me to finish this section. Okay, thank you so much. Talk to you next week. When you get more comfortable with that, you start meeting with them. Then you can ask them that in person. Now, why would we want to talk to our chair every week? Because this is the signature that matters most. Your committee, not so much. Your chair, yes. And we need the chair to be on board. We need the chair to be like, oh, yeah, I support this. You want your chair to feel like they put in just as much work and effort as you did in your dissertation. Now, we know in reality that's not true, but you want them to feel like that. Clock what I'm saying. You want them to feel like they also are a part of this project. If Erica is still here, so something we do inside the group, inside of Finish Your Dissertation, we call chairs by their first name. Why? It's because we need to humanize them. Most of y'all got them on pedestals that are too high. To bring them off that pedestal, you call them by their first name. They're not in the group. They don't know you calling them by their first name. So Erica's chair, Bill. Now Bill is real tough, like sweetest old man. He real close to retirement, right? Friend has been like a full professor. He's just living his life. He's just waiting down the clock. But because he's been doing this for a very long time, Bill he not playing with the people. Okay, you can't just bring Bill anything and think he gonna accept it. He did that before. Okay, so when you come to him, you gotta come to him to correct. So Erica was all about it. Erica was like, yeah, I love it. I'm so excited. So she finished her proposal in record time. Like she finished it in like 30 days. So she was like one of the, if not the first person in her cohort to finish, one of the first persons. And so then she goes and gives it to Bill, and Bill tears it up. I mean, tears it apart, sideways, up and down. I mean, he like, no girl, pretty much write this over. But now Erica mad. Erica got an attitude, right? Erica's like, Dr. Lacey, we about to show up. We gonna have to pull up. No, she don't talk like this. This is my version of the story. But she's like, we're gonna have to pull up on Bill because Bill got me fucked up in so many ways. Okay, I worked really hard on this proposal, And now he didn't tore it up and tell me I got to rewrite it. And I said, Erica, that's exactly what we want Bill to do. That's exactly what you want your chair to do. You want to write your proposal and you want to get it to about 60 or 70% done. And then you want to give it to your chair. Because what your chair is going to do is they're going to read it and they're going to tear it apart, but they're going to tell you what they want. They're going to give you feedback. It is much easier to critique a thing that already exists than to tell you before you write your proposal what they expect. Most people do not have the skill of articulating their expectations clearly. And so they need something like a proposal to fully understand what your topic is, what your approach is, and why you're doing it. So when Erica was like, I'm sorry, write it over, I was like, Erica, this is not the first time. It won't feel like the first time you wrote the proposal. The first time you were writing your proposal, you didn't know what you were doing. You were feeling your way through the dark. You were trying to get yourself motivated. But now, when you rewrite this proposal, you're following Bill's expectations to the T. Because you did the courageous work of giving it to him and asking him, what is it that you want me to do? He now has something tangible that he can articulate in a very clear and detailed way. This is what I want you to do. Most of you are hoarding your writing. Most of you giving it to your mentor and your friends and everybody over here. And then you get confused when you go to your chair and your chair is like, I don't know what to do with that, because they don't have any buy-in. They don't know. You haven't been talking to them. For all they know, you just been at home chilling. Do people say chilling anymore? Whatever. Yeah, I'm a millennial. We're going to go with it. But because they don't have any buy-in, they're like, well, go to those people you've been asking for help. Because quiet as it kept, it's disrespectful what you're doing. It's disrespectful to go to everybody else but your chair when they are the person who has the most power in the situation, and you going to everybody else but them. They're like, I can't help you. Go have them people to help you. So me talking to Erica, I'm like, Bill told you exactly what to do. We're going to change exactly what he told you to. And so Erica was like, okay, I got you. So this is draft number 2. I tell clients 5 drafts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 of them. Now you think it ain't going to be me. Can't be me. I'm not writing this proposal 5 times. Can't be me. That's what you're going to say to me on this line. I can hear you. You're going to be like, it can't be me. I'm not doing that 5 times. And I'm just going to say, okay. All right. Good luck. It doesn't have to take you a long time to write 5 drafts. The time comes in when you are fighting and resisting that it takes 5 drafts. Erica was the same way. Erica was like, can't be me, Dr. Lacey. I finished this in record time. I'm not doing this in 5 times. Bill is going to get this and he's going to be okay with it. I said, okay. So she goes back and she updates based on his feedback. She gives it to him. Bill takes out his red pen again, because remember, Bill is old school. Bill prints it out. It's a red pen. So he's like, move this table, do this over here. Why did you put this over here? What the hell is this? Now, he didn't say that because he's sweet. 3rd time, now she irritated again. Erica's like, you told me if I just address his edits, why couldn't he tell me this the first time? Why couldn't he give me all these feedback the time I turned it in? And I was like, because he didn't have an understanding. Because writing is a process. Writing is a process where you put words on a page, you give it to your chair says, do this, they give it back to you, you rewrite it, you give it to your chair's like, a second thought, do this, you go back, you rewrite it, you give it to your chair, they're like, okay, let's tweak this, move this. You take it back and then you give it to your chair, and you hope that by this point they're like, yeah, you're going to change this, there's more we can do, but we're going to save that till later, but you can go ahead and schedule your defense. So even though I'm telling Erica this, she's like, Bill getting on my last nerves. So when we get to draft number 4, okay, Erica's like, surely we didn't did this 4 times. He's told me all the things he wants me to do. I need to be defending, because I've been working on this for a year with Bill and I'm over it. Did you hear what I said? She's been working on it for a year with Bill. She wrote the entire proposal spring. And now we're going into the next spring, and she's going on draft, she's turning in draft number 4. Bill reads draft number 4 and he's like, yeah, I need you to do this. It was something that she had in draft number 2. Erica's blowing up my phone, y'all. She's like, Dr. Lacey now. Dr. Lacey. It was a full 3-chapter proposal. I don't know the page number, if you want to say what it is, Erica. I feel like it was around 100 pages, or like 50, somewhere in 50, 100. Like, I remember it being on the longer side. She's like, I said, this is what you're going to do. Because you've been so diligent about communicating with him every week. Because you have all your receipts. Because you communicated with him every week. Because you met with him in person. Because you emailed him. You got receipts. So all you have to do is print out your drafts and print out your notes. Take it to Bill's office and say, Bill, draft number 2, I had this section. You told me to take it out on draft number 3. Now we're on draft number 4, going on draft number 5, and you're telling me to put it back in when you told me to take it. What's going on? Now, are you playing in my face? You don't want me to graduate? What you doing, Bill? And Bill was like, oh, I didn't realize it. No, I don't mean it that way. No, I deeply respect you, Erica. I love this project. I'm just preparing you so that when you collect your data and you write up your final chapters, you don't have to touch your proposal anymore. I'm preparing you to make the end more seamless. I apologize that if my feedback was confusing or it seemed like I didn't respect you, I'm just trying to help you. Are y'all catching this conversation? Because Erica was able to articulate and show to him, like, what the hell is happening? He could be like, oh, yeah, that's not what I meant. Most of your chairs are forgetting that you are students. And they don't realize that you don't have the same level of support and whatnot. And that because you show up, and you show up as someone who's always on top of it, who always has a plan, they don't think that you're struggling. I know that sounds a little bit ridiculous, but sometimes we have to remind people, no, this is not as easy as you may think it is for me. So when you've been checking in every week, you actually have something tangible to show to them. You have evidence to show to them, like, hello. And for those of you who, because this is a situation where a chair is supportive. Okay, listen, Bill started changing tables on his own. Bill started adding in little sections before they got to the proposal defense. It's Bill's dissertation now, okay? Because Bill is excited. Before I go into this other part, Bill is so excited for Erica that he started doing things on his own because he's excited, because he's invested. He's like, so he thinks this is his project. And I joke, I think it's funny. That's how you know your chair is like rocking with you. And you like, who dissertation is it? Is it mine or yours? They're like, I just added the little party in. Now y'all got synergy going. Now y'all like, what the kids say, y'all cooking. Y'all like, when the two of you can bounce off ideas and treat each other like colleagues, that is how you start making so much progress so quickly. But if your chair doesn't have a reason to buy in because they think you don't need them, they're not going to help you. Your chair might be simply not showing up in the way that you need them to because they don't know that they should. Excuse me. A chair is not compensated to advise students. For most, especially at a Research 1 institution, they're not compensated to advise you. So if you don't give them an incentive, if you don't make it easy for them to help you, you're going to be at the bottom of that to-do list every week. It ain't personal. It ain't because they don't care. For most of them, it's just simply they don't know how to help you. And anytime you do ask for help, you're so like, I don't know. I just don't know what to write. It comes off as if you haven't thought about this, that you haven't been reading, that you haven't taken a moment to decide what you should do. But when you are in the habit of emailing them or meeting with them every week, they have information. Bill knows that Erica is switched. She keeps getting new jobs because the people love her. Bill knows that Erica is someone who's on top of it, and he can trust her to write on her own. He can trust that she's going to come to him and ask any questions that she's confused about. He can trust that if Erica's having a problem with the way he's showing up, that she's going to tell him. And when you trust that someone's going to communicate with you like that, you're more willing to help them. Another way to think about this is if you send an email to your chair and you say, hey, I can't look at this anymore. Can you look over it? That's more ambiguous than if you say, hey, I'm at a stopping point in my draft. I'm not ready for formatting or like APA, but if you could look at this draft and tell me if my ideas are clear enough, or to point out the areas where I may need to add in more examples or more literature, that would be helpful. Oh, let me do this right now. Why am I motivated to do it right now? You told me exactly what you need from me. I don't have to guess. I don't have to come up with a plan for myself. I don't have to try to like decipher what you meant by look over this. No, you told me exactly what to look for. When you get into the habit of communicating with your chair that way, you're going to notice a whole different person. Some of you need to file for an extension. Some of you have hit your 7-year mark or your 10-year mark, and you need to ask for an extension. When you go to fill out the paperwork, most likely the graduate school or the director of the program is going to go to your chair and not you. Most of the time, they're not going to come to you to ask you what's going on. They're going to go to your chair and they're going to say, what can you tell me about this student? If we give them an additional 6 months or 12 months or 18 months, how confident are you that they're going to be able to do the thing? If your chair doesn't have any information, guess what? They're going to be like, I don't know. I haven't heard from them, so don't give them the extension. But if your chair, I'm thinking about Benita, her chair was like, oh yeah, she has some health things going on, and she just moved back home with her family, but she's in this dissertation program, and she seems like she's writing. She asked for 6 months. They gave her 18 months because they were like, we don't want you to rush. We don't want you to feel like you have to. And they gave her funding. Did you hear what I'm saying? Because her chair knew what was going on, she didn't have to fight so hard. But if you don't know that you're supposed to use the system in this way, this gets really challenging, and you start thinking that there's something wrong with you, and there's nothing wrong with you. You're just in a system that you don't know how to navigate. And people didn't think to tell you how to navigate it because they just assumed that you knew, because that's their privilege. And I know that's a loaded word for some people. We all have privilege in some form. For the people who knew what to expect, they're not the first ones in their family. They have the support and the resources. They don't know that it doesn't occur to them that other people may not have the same thing. That's what it means to have privilege. So you're not lazy. You are qualified. You might be a little bit burnt out, but the burnt out can be alleviated by learning to navigate the system. I have a program. I'm a coach. Why I'm still a dissertation coach is because I know that you know how to figure out how to write a paper. The dissertation is just a paper. You know how to do that. What you may not know how to do is, how do I talk to my chair? How do I navigate these tricky situations? What do I do if it's been 3 weeks and all I could do is cry at my laptop or read the same sentence over and over? Who do I go to tell? Like, everybody expects that I'm going to do such an amazing job, and everybody already assumes that I'm going to be able to do this, but I don't know what to do. Who do I tell that I don't know what I'm doing? I don't want to disappoint people. I don't want people to feel like they wasted their money or their resources or their time that they invested in me. But who do I tell that I don't know what I'm doing? Where do I go to have structure in this process? There's someone, I think Nayeli, is talking about their structure here. It takes the pressure off because I just have to show up to the Finish Your Dissertation program and do the structure. I don't have to be the one that's responsible. I just get to show up and be a student. Like, yep. Trying to do this process alone or thinking that your chair can be your everything, especially if you don't have the support already, it's almost impossible. It's so hard to do this. I'm not saying it's not, but it's going to come at a great cost. You're going to get to the other side of the dissertation and be so burnt out that you won't even want anybody to call you a doctor, because what you're going to associate, the feelings you associate with doctor, won't be positive ones, because it was such a hard process. It was such a grueling, it took so much from you because you just didn't have the support that you needed. I'm telling you all these things today because I want you to go get the support or come into the program. So if you type FYD, you'll get a video and you'll get information. I'm not about to hound you, but I'm telling you what we offer so that it makes sense to you. If you're someone who's been spinning their wheels and you've been trying to write and it's not happening, please put FYD and go watch the video. I'm so glad you hopped on too. Are there any questions or anything, y'all? I had the preconception that academics had an organization system, but I realized that's not the case. No, because they assume that you already have someone. Right? Historically, when you would go into a doc program, you would go under a professor, right? And it would be more like an apprentice type situation where you would help them complete their research. You would be in their labs. You would be doing their literature reviews. Like you would have such firsthand knowledge because you would have been with them for 4, 5, 6, 7 years that by the time you got to your dissertation was just a continuation of their work. You were not choosing your own topic. You were just choosing whatever they were doing. So it wasn't, the system was built in because you were just continuing their research. But now today, most programs say, oh, the student gets to choose their topic. And because you're not in this environment in a lab with your major professor, you don't have that structure. So it's not built in, right? Again, nothing is wrong with you. It's the system. The more that you can get to a place where you know that there's nothing wrong with you, the easier it will be to write. Your writing has nothing to do with you didn't read enough. Writing has everything to do with, do you believe, are you confident that the words you're putting on the page are good enough to make it to the defense and be considered research? You think you're being objective by saying my writing isn't good enough, but earlier I asked you, how do you know when something's good enough? How do you know when your writing is good enough? Most of you don't have an objective list that you could say. It's your feelings. So if it's going to be based on your feelings, let's work on your feelings. Instead of being overwhelmed or confused or feeling like a imposter, let's work on you feeling calm, confident, courageous, willing, committed. Because those are the emotions that will help you to show up and write, even when you're like, I don't know if I'm doing this right, but you will trust yourself enough. Okay, I feel like I'm talking in circles. Oh, is this even for those early in the program? Yeah, so people have been asking me, and I don't know if Chris is still here, probably not, but Chris joined the program while still in coursework. There's a lot of students who join while in coursework because they know and they recognize that this program is helping you to show up as a scholar and a student. And they wanted to get into the routine. So by the time they start writing their proposal, they're already used to it. So Chris started in coursework, and now that he's writing the proposal, it's just like this, just making progress. Erica started in coursework and was trying to get to the system. That's why she's been with me for 2 years. The first year was mostly courses and doing her exams. And the second year has been about the dissertation. But the second year is so smooth. Oh, this is going to be good. The second year is so smooth that we're not even really talking about dissertation stuff anymore. The only time we talk about the dissertation stuff is when she's mad at Bill. What our conversations are about is like, okay, what about this life? What you doing? Because I'm still a life coach, y'all. So because we had freedom and space to talk about her life, Erica has been hired twice for what she thought was a dream job, for jobs that she thought she couldn't get until after she got the letters. But because we were able to coach through her confidence and how she sees herself, she's in a brand new job, 6 figures, and they told her, you get to decide what to do. We don't know. We hired you because we like your brain. For a job she would have known she needed a degree for and so many more years of experience. And she's just doing it. She's learning it now. Because I am teaching you a structure that is going to last outside of the dissertation. We have so many people who come back to the program and they still come to the calls because it's about the community. It is about the structure that we provide throughout the week. It is about how you feel about yourself. I don't know what everybody else does, but what I do is that when I want you to leave this program, I want you to go into your defense being like, now listen, committee, don't you play with me. You're signing this paperwork. I know that I did that. I'm going to do my little presentation. I'm going to answer y'all questions, and you're going to say, congratulations, doctor, and we're going to walk out of here, and it's going to be good. I want you to have that level of certainty and confidence when you go into a defense. I want you to go into your chair's office and be like, hey, the same way Erica was like, Bill, now you didn't say this over here. What we doing? And Bill's like, oh, no, I don't mean it. That's how I want you to be. I want you to have so much certainty about who you are and where you're going that nobody gonna be able to tell you nothing. I don't know. She was on here earlier, but I doubt she's still here. Dr. Candace Henry, going into her proposal defense, the committee from the beginning was like, oh yeah, she passed, but we just want to talk about publications. They like skipped over all the questions and whatnot and was like, oh no, she passed, but like we don't want to know what comes afterwards. They were ready to give her a job and everything. But when people came up to her, because there were people who came up to her and was like, why did you do all of that for your dissertation? Why you had to make your own model? Why you had to do all of that? It didn't matter. She didn't get caught up in a conversation because she was like, I know who I am. And I'm sorry that you couldn't do the same thing. Like, that you don't have the confidence or the support or the resources, but I invested in myself. Candace came to me as she quit her job. Her last money, I'm not telling you to put yourself in a financial situation. I'm just simply communicating what she did. She did not have the money, but she knew she needed the support. When she came to me, originally it was to start her business. But I was like, we're going to get this business going and we're going to finish the dissertation. Like, you don't have to choose between both. I didn't go into this, but I'm someone who wrote my dissertation in 2.5 months and started this business, this very one that I'm talking to you about right now, at the same time. And so I was like, Candace, I'm going to help you do the same thing. So for 1.5 years, she worked on her exams, and then she transitioned to her dissertation. She created her own model, and she made her first $3,000 of her business, and she has a tenure track job at a Research One institution. It's not because she knows something or she's just so much more like special than you. It's because she invested in the support. She made sure that she has somebody who's been where she's trying to go and who can help her navigate the system faster without having to pay the ignorance tax of not knowing the system. She could come and ask me and I'm like, oh, do this, do that, do this. And I am not to take the place of your chair. That's not my job. My job is to translate for you. Your chair wants you to do this. This is what they mean. This is how you do it. And this is how you can set yourself up every day to make it easy. Because now I'm going to go into the program because I'm here. The Finish Your Dissertation program is designed to help you write your dissertation in 12 months or less. How we do that is you give us 10 hours, we'll give you a finished dissertation. We will help you do that. And I do mean 10 hours for the whole week, because some people think I'm saying 10 hours a day, and I'm being very clear, 10 hours a week. Some of y'all are showing up 10 hours a day. I'm not really sure why. 10 hours a week. We have 3 rules that we follow. The first rule is you follow the Scholar Basics every day. The Scholar Basics are to make sure you have the energy and the motivation to show up and write. They're just 5 little habits that you do every day so that you can have the energy and the motivation to show up and write. Every Sunday, which is rule number 2, we evaluate how did the last 7 days go for us and how can we use that information for the next 7 days. On Sunday, you are going to make a plan about how you're going to spend those 10 hours. What exactly are you going to use those 10 hours for? And I'm not talking about that little plan you make, with that forever going like long to-do list. I am talking about you open up a plan and that plan says on Monday at 5 p.m. you're going to go to your home office and you're going to write 1 paragraph about interest convergence of critical race theory. That's how detailed your plan is going to be. So when it comes to Monday at 5 p.m., you're not like, oh, let me get myself together. Oh, let me watch a little YouTube video to get inspired. Oh, let me read where I left off last time because I don't know what I'm supposed to do. No, you get to work. You get to work. I'm going to teach you how to work. That's rule number 2. Rule number 3, you're going to communicate with your chair every week. And every month, you're going to submit to them a minimum of 10 pages. Why? Because every week you would have showed up, you would have put 10 hours in. And you would have put in 10 clear hours that gets you to at least 2 pages a week, if not more. So that by the end of the month, you have a full, at least 10-page draft that you can give to your chair. For a lot of you, what would it mean to have 10 pages consistently every month to show to your chair? What have you been doing and what are you doing now? What would that what difference would it make to have a structure that does that? Because although I'm giving you these rules, the program is designed for you to do that. So on Sunday, we show up and we make a plan. On Monday, I'm in your face like, show me your plan. What you doing? Tell me what you're doing. Show me your plan. It's Nayeli showed me her plan, and I was like, oh, that's cute. Oh, you're gonna write half of your chapter 3 this month. Oh, that's really cute. Actually, you're gonna write the entire chapter next week. Now let's talk about how you're gonna get yourself to do that. When she got done freaking out, what we did is talk through how do we make it easy and still in 10 hours a week that you're gonna write a whole chapter in a week. I know I get on here and I sound ridiculous to some of y'all, and some of y'all be like, that ain't right. It is. I have receipts. I have over 100 doctors under my name. I've had most of them did it in less than 6 months. Why? Because of this process. So on Monday, when I'm in your face and I'm like, show me your plan. How are we going to do this? How do you need to organize yourself to make sure you can execute this plan? So then by the time we meet on Thursday and I say how it goes, how did it go, and how can I support you for the weekend, we got some information to work with, because on Thursday is where I teach you how to read, write, and edit like a scholar. You think you know how to do that now, you don't. Because every time that I go there and I'm like, this is how I would write this paragraph, the light bulbs that go off. They're like, I didn't ever think about that. I know. Because you're still trying to use your undergrad strategies to write this dissertation. You're not an undergrad no more. You're a scholar. This is the big leagues. We're not writing in that way no more. You're wasting your time. You're spinning your wheels doing it that way. We're going to do it this way. Those are just the core calls. So let me repeat. Sunday is for planning. We meet 6 to 8 Eastern p.m. Monday is 6 to 7. We talk about the administrative project organization part of your dissertation. And Thursday, we talk about the writing part of the dissertation from 6 to 7 p.m. We also offer co-writing calls, because those calls are just to get your mind right and get you going so you know what you're going to do. The co-writing calls is for you to do the work in community. For somebody like Chris to be like, so what you doing today? Yeah, that's what you're doing. Did you meet with Dr. Lacey? Okay, well, let's write. And so Monday, Wednesday, we have a co-writing session from noon to 2 p.m. Eastern and 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Then we have an additional co-writing session on Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. If you are following, you will notice that in the evenings, you have a call with me or another coach to get your mind right. And then immediately following, you have a co-writing session. Why? Because most students, by the time they're like talking to me or another coach, they're ready to go. They're like, oh, I get it. And they want to immediately go into a co-writing session. And we do that every week. Plus, there's a whole vault of videos, because I've been doing this for 7 years, of things of me teaching. This is how you do a literature review. This is how you write your theoretical framework. This is how you figure out your method section. There are videos for every part of the process, because I've been doing this for 7 years. And we're constantly adding new videos because I'm still meeting on Friday with the person for the curriculum. But it's not just me. So you got me, I'm the main instructor. You also have Dr. Candace Henry, who I mentioned earlier. She's going to meet with you on Sundays to help you with your planning. You have Dr. Kalia I, who's going to help you get onboarded into the program, make sure you know where everything is, you know where to go. You can have her as a source of support. And we have Dr. Kirsten Lee Hill, who does all things quantitative and mixed methods, because y'all know that's not my ministry. Okay, so she is there. She's with me on a call every Monday, and she's there to answer any questions. Sometimes, like, she'll even look at your data. If you're having a question about, like, I'm out my wheelhouse, because y'all know I'm be knowing these words, but, like, what is it, like, what method to use or analysis or whatever, how to, like, fix your variables or whatever y'all do over there in their world, she will help you do that. There's a team of coaches. And then to me, what is the best part of the program is the community. Y'all hear me say, I will fight you if you think you got a better doc community. You don't. Because y'all too busy doing like respectability to have a better community. When I say, I can't describe to you, this is a community where you're going to see people in the bed with their bonnets on. Or on a call, you're going to see people doing bedtime routines. You're going to see somebody cleaning their closet out because the ADHD started ADHDing and they needed to do something. You're going to see Chris. Sometimes, although he's trying to be better, you're going to see Chris with cigars and whiskey. Okay, I might roll up in there with a cider or something, because I don't work for nobody's school. I don't got to follow nobody's rules. I just show up and I'll be me. I'm talk to you like this. But I'm going to explain to you what you need to do. I'm explaining to you how to like get what you need, because we got shit to do. And this, I'm gonna be done after this, because I know I've been talking. I know some of y'all want to go watch some speeches, the DNC or whatever. I'm not your regular professor. That I don't know. I never talk like that. That's not me. I'm like, I'm from where I'm from. Like, but I'm gonna break it down to you. Some of you are gonna have a hard time being in this community because you're gonna be like, is it real? Is it a trick? I forgot what my first thought I was gonna go down, but we're here. I've had people come in and be like, what's happening? Why y'all so nice? That's where I was going. You got people waiting for you. You have people waiting for you. This dissertation is the floor, not the ceiling. It's the floor. The only thing that's happening right now is you think you heard those people. You let them get in your head and tell you, oh, this is such a big deal. It's so rigorous. And don't get me wrong. That's why only 3% of the world has a terminal degree. I'm not saying it's not hard. I'm just saying it's not hard for you. Catch the difference. I'm not saying it's not a challenging thing. I'm just saying it's light work for you. You just letting these people get in your head and making you think that this is hard. This ain't hard for you. You've been through worse. You ever acting like you soft or something, like you ain't been through shit in your life? What is a dissertation? What is a 200-page document? That's going to be the thing that ends you? That's going to be the thing that makes you quit? Are you serious? Absolutely not. It's a paper. You've written multiple papers. What's really happening in this moment is that there's a part of you that realizes what I'm saying is absolutely true. There's a part of you that knows that you meant to do more than somebody's little funky dissertation. To be somebody's like faculty who do whatever they say. I'm not saying go get your bag, go get the job. I'm not telling you not to. I'm saying don't get caught up in thinking that's all you are, that that's all you deserve, because that's not true. There are people who are waiting for someone just like you, who talk like you do, who come from where you come from, who think about the world in the way you think about it. They are waiting for you. There's somebody on their couch crying, frustrated because they haven't seen you. They've been looking for you. But you too busy over here being like, well, they said this was supposed to be hard, and I guess it's supposed to be hard, so let me pretend like it's hard. You're playing a role. This is not hard. The moment that you can let go of these people's approval and you can realize that your 10% is their 90%, when you fully feel that in your body, nobody gonna be able to tell you nothing. All the wins I could tell you about students, that's the work that we do. The actual dissertation is like 10 or 20% of the work that we're gonna do. The bulk of the work we're gonna do is like, friend, what's the impact you're gonna have on this world? What are you gonna do with all this power and this privilege that you're getting with this the degree? What are you gonna do? You want a business? You wanna go have your own research center? You want to start your own nonprofit? Like, what are we doing? You're bigger than the box they're trying to put you in. You're more powerful than the box they're trying to put you in. So that's what I want you to think about. I'm going to leave you with that. What are you going to do with the power and the privilege that comes with being doctor? Please put FYD here, or you can DM me and you'll get the information. I hope to see you on one of the calls. Ask your questions. I want to see you there. And thank y'all for your time. And I hope you have a good night. Bye, y'all.